In today's video, we're going to cover proper nock fitment on your string. So what you should be looking for and how to decipher whether or not you have the proper nock fit on the string itself. For those of you that are new here, my name is Jake Kaminsky. I'm a two-time Olympic silver medalist in the sport of archery. I'm working to make this channel a great resource to all types of archery. So if you haven't yet, hit that subscription button and the notification bell. That way you're notified every time a new video is uploaded. I'd appreciate it. So before I show you the close-ups on how to actually look for nock fitment and the proper nock fitment on the string, basically, why is it important to have proper nock fit? Well, there's two main ways that it can go wrong. It can either be too loose or too tight. Too loose, this nock is going to actually want to be falling off of the string while you're at full draw. Sometimes it can actually fall off of the string and then you risk dry firing your bow, which nobody wants to do. As you know, that is not good for the bow or for you because it could hurt you. And what can happen outside of it actually falling off the string is it may move forward slightly, just enough to where it is not actually being touched by the string into the throat of the nock. And so what happens is, as you let go of the string will start moving forward and slam into the back of the nock and then push the arrow forward. Instead of gradually and gently accelerating the arrow, there's a bit of a disturbance to it. And that resonates throughout the whole arrow and can really change the trajectory of the arrow downrange. And while the arrow is in your bow, it is in its most susceptible position to actual influence before it even starts flying. Because if it starts heading the wrong direction, as you extrapolate that over a long distance, it deviates a lot from the target and you won't have a very accurate system. So having too loose of a nock fit is not good, but also too tight of a nock fit is not good either. If it is squeezing onto the string really hard and it doesn't want to come off of the string very easily, when the arrow is stopped accelerated from the limbs pushing it forward, when the arrow reaches brace height, the string will start decelerating as it is still continuing to move forward past brace height, and then eventually the nock decouples from the string and the arrow leaves. Now, if it is too tight, the string will start to move forward very far and the nock will not decouple yet because it is holding on. And what happens is you're basically in an area of space and time when the string is not really traveling in a definitive straight line. As it starts decelerating and starting to come back towards brace height, it is going to start oscillating and vibrating left and right because of all sorts of factors that are going on with the actual shooting system. So if you can get the nock to decouple before the string starts coming backwards or before the string starts oscillating left to right, that would be more accurate because then it would not affect the arrow flight as the arrow is coming out of the bow. Because, as I've already covered, that's an extremely critical and important point in time. So it really, you have to have the proper nock fit to make sure that it's not falling off of your string and the string's not slamming into the nock, and also not too tight to where it won't let go of the string at the opportune moment before the string starts oscillating left to right as the arrow is coming out of the bow. So before we get into the close-ups on how do we look at nock fits, please check out my website, jakekaminsky.com. There'll be links in the description below, plus a card at the top here. As you can see, I'm wearing one of my new shirts that I'm really happy with the design of, and thank you to the person who helped me out with my designs, by the way. All of that stuff you can find on my website. You can find apparel, coaching, books, all sorts of different stuff. You can find all sorts of ways to support me and my channel on my website, and I really appreciate everybody that has been supporting this channel. It's making a huge difference and allowing me to produce a whole lot more content for everybody else free at home. So thank you to everybody who has spent the time and spent their hard-earned dollars to help support me and my channel. Okay, so I'm going to show you the nock fitment. I've got my string here and a couple of different nocks on the table. This is a large groove gold tip pin nock. This is a large groove biter for indoor arrows, and this is a small groove, I think either Easton or Soma. No, that's an Easton, the new Easton pin nock, small groove. So I'm going to show you the different fitments on this string and which one you should be going for and which to avoid. What you don't want is this. If you were to clip it on the string, you do want the ability to move it up and down relatively easily, but what you don't want is, watch this, and all I'm doing is I'm taking the arrow and I'm trying to rock it back and forth. And you can see that wiggle. That means it's too loose. That means it's not holding the arrow itself. So if we were to look really close if I were to hold this perfectly still and move the arrow, I can actually feel a little bit of play on and off the string, and that means that the string is going to slam into the nock as it's moving forward. So that's too loose, but you do want the ability to move it up and down. This is an exaggeration of that with this nock here. See the rocking back and forth, sliding super easy, and the in and out. See that? You do not want that. It still holds on, but you don't want it to do that. That's no good. We'll check this small groove nock. Now this one is too tight. It does not want to move up and down. It's very hard. There is no rocking. It stays on and no play in and out, of course, but it's just too tight. Watch how far this moves this direction as I'm pulling it off. It doesn't want to come off. Super, super hard. Now this one, yes, is a little bit too loose. Watch how little it needs to pull before it comes off. Not very far at all. So that's the reason why you don't want too small of a nock. So this is another string here, and we're gonna check this one. First we'll check it with the large groove because it should be much better. Now I'm not putting it in the nocking point area because I wouldn't be able to slide it up or down for you. But yeah, this one feels much better. It still moves up and down, but as I rock it back and forth, it doesn't move at all. Like it's got a tiny little bit, maybe just a little bit too small of a center serving. Right here is good because it's not worn out. This is near where the arm guard buzzes, so the center serving is a bit worn out, but as I'm trying to rock this, the veins aren't moving at all. That would be ideal, where it's sliding fairly easy, but it does not rock back and forth. Now the way you change nock fit is by using different size center servings, different size nocks, and different amounts of strands in your string. Now this is probably something like a 21 thousandths halo center serving, and this is a 20 strand string and a large groove nock. That's what I use and what I like best. But people that shoot small groove, maybe 18 strand string, 17 thousandths halo, you might be able to get away with a small groove nock. So you can essentially change the thickness of your serving, the thickness or the amounts of strands of your string, the different nock sizes as well. So if you have improper nock fit, I'll put links in the description below on where you can get different size center servings, and so you can serve it yourself to basically make your nock fit better. Now, if you only have one size center serving and it's too small, you can, in a pinch, take a couple of strands of this string and lay it down and then serve over that strand. It'll actually make it thicker. The only thing that you need to worry about is you need to make sure you burnish it into the string. So wrap another serving around it in a loop and then slide it up and down the string to basically make that string nice and round, and then serve over it. That'll make sure you don't have any weird bumps on it at all. But now that we have the proper nock fit, it comes off nice and easy as opposed to too small. Really, really hard. Also, note, biter nocks are different. Standard large and small groove nocks like Easton's pins, gold tip pins, G pins, all of those are all in standard. These are in metric. They are slightly larger. The small groove biter is slightly larger than the small groove Easton. The large groove biter is slightly larger than the large groove Easton. Here's proof. See, I can still play with it, still rock it back and forth, even though that this one was perfect. So there's your proof that biter, large groove nocks, and small groove nocks are slightly larger due to the metric nature of these versus the standard nature of those. So they are slightly different size, and just something to take into consideration. Thanks for watching, and thank you to my Patreon supporters. If you want to become a Patreon supporter or check out books, apparel, and some seminar info, head to jkaminski.com. And be sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to be notified every time a new video is uploaded. And I appreciate you watching. Thank you again.